faster, faster. Thank you.
What a sound that is. Totally unique. If I can try to describe it, we're going to get the artist to do that himself, but it's part beatbox, part throat singing. You may know throat singing because we've come to know Tanya Tagaq, for example, in this country. She won the Polaris Music Prize. But my next guest, he's hoping to have similar success and impact. Nelson Tagoona, his name, 21 years old. My guest this morning, because he's in Toronto to perform a couple of times in conjunction with the Pan Am Games. Great to meet you, Nelson. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Introduce us to throat boxing. You define it for me. What is it?
Throat boxing is a mix between cultural, traditional throat singing, which the Inuit, usually it was the female that did it. Like, for example, they had one song where it's called Gataja, which is competition song. And two females would do that song, but they also had other songs like Anore, which is wind, and they also had Gitore, which is mosquito. Like, they have so many other songs, and it is years and years old. It is way before our time.
It's a wonderful tradition. And you've built on that?
Yes. So throat boxing is the mix between beatboxing and cultural throat singing, and that's what I grew up doing. And you know, I took advantage of that, and I made it the greatest I could, and I never thought it would have had results like this.
National exposure right in the Pan Am Games, which we'll talk to about in just a second. But this is you didn't come up with the name throat boxing, I know, but you're really a pioneer in the country. We were talking in the commercial break. Nelson thinks the only one in the country doing that. Now, how did you find it? How did you decide to make up this combination?
Well, during my early years, I was very musical, and I used to experiment a lot with music, and I used to just make the best of what I had, you know, and musically I didn't have much. So, you know, I made the best of what I have, and I was already doing my own little thing here, but I eventually met a crew called the Blueprint for Life crew, who the founder is, he's Stephen LaFleur, B-Boy Buddha, he's a Buddha. And they coined the phrase throat boxing. They had a beatboxer going while two throat singers were going, and I decided, no, I felt like I could grab that and make the best of that, and that I really did.
And here we are.
And here we are.
We're going to try something different. I know we don't have the subwoofers that you like for your show, but give me a few seconds of you live, and give our audience at home live so they can experience live throat boxing. All right, Nelson Tagoona, let's go. We're good to go.
Okay. So that is
unbelievable. We have people in the atrium here, so we can applaud. That's incredible how you're able to do that. It's remarkable. When you write your songs, there are stories in your songs as well. We didn't hear any of the lyrics, but you mentioned where you're from. Nelson's from Baker Lake in Nunavut. Your life story is one that unfortunately is not uncommon. There have been challenges in your life, haven't there? A lot of sadness.
Yeah, I have dealt with a lot of pain, and that's the fuel to my music, though. That is what really pushes me to create the type of music that I do. I have many different worlds in the music world because I kind of share my life through my music.
So it's from darkness into
there's the whole range
there. But into light. Music is a way out towards something happy for you, and that's the message. I mean, we saw you with the group of students, for example. You take this to student groups and to performances, and you try to give them a message in your music and in your life story. What do you try to share with them, Nelson?
Well, with the youth, I really want to show them, especially in youth in remote communities who don't really have much. I want the youth to understand that, you know, although we're going to deal with so much in our lives, as long as we keep moving forward, we will find that inner peace. And music is in my opinion, like one of the greatest outlets. It's art and the culture that really puts everything into perspective, and it's easier for you, especially if you're trying to get through it on your own, to get through all of this. If you're just focused on your dream and you're stuck with all this negative tension that builds up within you, you could let it explode in a positive perspective. All this tension could explode positively, and it's healing. You know, and the healing is the important part in all of this for me. And the results in my workshops are always so phenomenal. I get tears sometimes.
Dude, I bet you do. I mean, you're a role model. That's a sacred responsibility that you carry now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is a great responsibility. I wouldn't trade it for anything, though. It is hard, but it is something that I really love deeply.
Listen, you're bringing your music to a big city audience now. It'll be a totally different thing. On stage as part of the Aboriginal Pavilion lineup. We've been there a couple of times. Wonderful festival going on there through the games. And then tomorrow, if you happen to be in Toronto, on the stage at Panamania, right in Pan Am Park. What do you think this is going to be like?
I don't know exactly what to think. I have one of my friends, Sejal, coming in for this event. And now getting into this perspective, I'd really like to thank one special group. It's called Mitch. It's Mobilizing Inuit Cultural Heritage from the York University. They're the reason I made it to this event. They're the ones who pushed for me and did all the serious work to make sure I get here. So I want to say thank you to you, Anna Hudson.
For that.
And, you know, I never thought I'd really play at Pan Am Games, or, you know, I never thought I'd make it this far, but it started moving, and I'm learning how far an individual could actually take himself as long as he actually believes in himself.
Well, you believe. You don't have an album, you don't have a manager, you've done all of this on your own. So congratulations to the road thus far, and we'll be looking forward to seeing where it takes you next.
Exactly.
Will you do a little bit more of your throat boxing for us as we take another commercial break, Nelson?
Okay, let's do it.
Nelson Tagoona, good luck in your shows. Thank you for being our guest today.
Rock and roll.
One, two, three. One.